Okay, we're going to graph this piecewise function. F of x equals either 7x or x minus 2. The idea of a piecewise function is you have two separate pieces. I'm going to deal with the first piece, which is if x is less than or equal to negative 1. And I'm going to make a table to grab a couple of points. So I'm going to start with a table with x and y, but my table for y equals 7x. Now, everything starts at negative 1, so I'm going to start by plugging in a negative 1 and anything less than negative 1, such as possibly negative 3. I need 2 points to graph a line, and y equals 7x is a line. So when I plug in negative 1, I end up with y equals negative 7. When I plug in negative 3, I end up with y equals negative 21. And I'm going to plot those points. Negative 1 is going to start with a close point. So negative 1, negative 7 is approximately right here, close point. Then I have negative 3 and negative 21, which is right about here. Now what's important to realize is this is where my graph starts. And it just goes through this point. So it's going to continue anything less than negative 1, and it will continue going and going and going. So I'm going to put an arrow on that side because it does not stop. That is the first piece of this function. The second piece, same idea, but in this case, my y equals x minus 2. Now, I'm actually going to start it at negative 1. Even though I cannot actually have a negative 1 on this piece. I'm going to plug in the negative 1, and y is going to be negative 3. When I graph that point, negative 1, negative 3, I need to do that with an open point. Open because I can get close to that point, but I cannot actually reach x equals negative 1. Now I'm going to plug in any value larger than negative 1. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and plug in a 2, because I'm going to need 2 points to get a graph. And when I plug that in, 2 minus 2 is 0 for y. And I've got the point 2, 0. Notice I actually don't stop at that point, but just go through it. And that is my other piece of this piecewise function. Now it's important to understand that those two pieces come together to give me the graph of f of x. So both pieces combined produce one function, f of x.